watching BBN Tonight on your official UK sports station, LEX 18. Presented by Central Bank, the official bank of UK athletics.
Welcome back. The number 25 Kentucky men's tennis team capped off a perfect season opening weekend with a 5-2 win.
With the season.
You're watching BBN Tonight on your official UK sports station, LEX 18. Presented by Central Bank, the official bank of UK athletics.
Welcome back to BBN Tonight. Let's bring in the voice of the Wildcats.
Tom Leach joins us to talk UK basketball. And Tom, Kentucky broke through with the season-high 82 points on Saturday in that win over LSU. The Cats also had 7 3-pointers, the most since Dante Allen's breakout game at Mississippi State. All positive news, but kind of like the Florida, I'm a little gun-shy. Can they keep it going?
Yeah, that's the big question now. And what Cal said, I think it was in our pregame interview Saturday, that he was framing this stretch of games that began with the LSU game, as a great opportunity. So they checked the first box, but of the 5 teams, that was the lowest rated of them. So now they have 2 top 10 teams coming up this week in Alabama on the road and then Texas at home. And if you want to change, if you're a Kentucky player and you want to change the narrative and make a statement and any other phrase you want to throw out there, this is the week to do it.
And the trend upward also continues for B.J. Boston. He led the Wildcats with 18 points in each of the last 2 games. It's his clear best 2-game stretch of the season, Tom. It's got to be good news just to not only for the team that he plays better, but for him personally, just his confidence.
Absolutely. I think what he did in the LSU game was tremendous. When LSU made a little bit of a run, he asserted himself and was able to get some key buckets to keep LSU at bay. Get a chance to watch a practice or 2 a week. And before the Georgia game, I was actually sitting there with Goose Givens at practice, and BJ came off a screen, went down the lane, and dunked over 2 guys. And Goose said, "Where's that been?" And then he was hitting threes, and he just looked so confident. And so it was nice to see that translate to the floor at Georgia, and then he built on it with a similar performance against LSU. So hopefully he's starting to play with some confidence now, because they have to find a way to get to somewhere between 70 and 75 points regularly. And him getting, say, 15 a game or more would be a big component of that. Keon Brooks is starting to give him some reliable scoring. Cal said the other night he needs 12 or 13 a game out of Olivier. So they can kind of come up with that formula to get into the 70s regularly. Then their defense will give them a chance to win a significant number of their games, I think.
Well, kind of along those lines, freshman Isaiah Jackson only played for 16 minutes on Saturday, but he made his presence felt with 6 points and a career-high 15 rebounds, and all but 2 of those came in the second half. That's the most by a Wildcat since Nick Richards pulled down 16 against Arkansas in 2019. Also makes Jackson third in line for most rebounds per 40 minutes by a Wildcat in the Coach Cal era. Some big names with Jared Vanderbilt, DeMarcus Cousins, Randall, and Humphreys.
And he's blocking shots at a great rate. So the way they're defending, there should be a good number of defensive rebounds. And like 3 straight opponents have been under 40% from the field. So, he got most of his boards on the defensive glass. And if they can get the board, get out in transition, that helps their offense. Isaiah still tends to get into some early foul trouble. That's what happened in the LSU game. He picked up 2 in the first half, so he ended up having to sit for a long stretch. But, again, there's another guy that you can start to count on him to give you 8 to 10 rebounds a game and, 3 blocks maybe. You start to have some of those things that as the coach you can kind of count on from game to game that you feel comfortable you're going to get. And then that helps you get your rotation built of, I know what I get from this guy, I know what I get from this guy, and here's how we're going to play them.
Next up, Tom, is, of course, Alabama, one of the hottest teams in the country. Lance Ware said after the game Saturday that the team will be a little bit different this time in terms of UK because their mentality is a little bit different since that matchup a couple weeks ago where they lost by 20. Do you see it panning out a little bit different tomorrow night?
Well, I hope so, certainly. Alabama's made 66 threes over the last 4 games. So, and John Petty in particular has made 21. So they are in quite a zone right now. But Kentucky has, for the most part, defended people pretty well. And the Alabama game was an exception to that. They played the three-point shot in a way that Cal has he's talked about kicking himself for, the way they defended it. He had them go out, and instead of rushing at the shooter, they were to go out and make sure they stay on their feet, and to not get too deep into the X's and O's of basketball. It didn't work. And so I think they'll play it differently. Hopefully it'll work differently. But, if they have any slim chance of having the door open for, an NCAA at large bid down the road, if they could win enough games to do that, you've got to have some quality wins to do that. And they have 2 shots at getting them this week.
Tom, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Sure. Glad.
Stick around. More BBN Tonight after this.